Are you a decision maker in the tech industry? And when I say decision, I mean anything from large-scale business strategy all the way through to whether we put a semicolon at the end of a line of JavaScript. If so, then I think you're complicit in breaking the world. Yes, you. If you want to know how, continue watching.
What do you like about it?
Well, I like that it's something new and fun. It's not bull. There's no rock stars now.
The tech industry is forging a new path, taking artificial intelligence to the next level. Standing on the shoulders of recent technical innovations like Web3, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, the platform economy and social media, AI companies are guiding us to a new utopia where we no longer have any pesky interruptions like work, decision-making, democracy and creativity.
Why is that version of the future so easy to imagine? This dystopian future where computers, robots and artificial intelligence have wrestled control of the world from humans. What has driven science fiction writers and movie producers to always make the default assumption that it's the bad robots that are coming? Why is this so readily available as a vision in people's minds when they think about the current AI revolution? It could be because history is littered with groundbreaking technical innovations that were meant to push us towards a utopian society, but corrupted by a lack of accountability and governance, cause massive societal ill instead. Social media, the platform economy, cryptocurrencies, all promise to elevate society to another level, redistribute power, enable new commerce models, and create global connections. But every one of these innovations has done more harm than they have done good. The tech industry broke the world. But how can we stop it? When social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook and YouTube launched in the early 2000s, they promised to democratize media. They promised to connect and reconnect disconnected people across the globe. But quickly, the business development teams in social media platforms realized that to be profitable, these platforms needed to increase the amount of time users spent viewing their content. The more content a user viewed, the more adverts they could be served. The product teams quickly latched on to the ability of technology to be used as a trigger for dopamine responses in the human brain. The more dopamine that could be triggered, the longer the users would continue to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. But that wasn't enough. They also needed to create engagement. So they set about crafting algorithms to present the most engaging content to its users. With no human nuance or curated consideration, the algorithms presented the users with the two most engaging types of content. Firstly, it presented the content that perfectly aligned with their worldviews, that created warmth and feelings of happiness, love and enjoyment. But it also presented the polar opposite. Content that would trigger anger, hatred, fear and rage. The more polarizing the content, the more engagement it generated. No longer would people debate to a happy medium on social media, but battle lines were drawn on all topics. You were either with us or you were against us. It started with the colour of a dress, and it ended with people arguing about race, religion, gender and conflict. Social media was meant to be this fantastic tool that would create global connection, but instead it polarised and divided us. A decade after the social media revolution, companies like Airbnb, Uber and fast food delivery companies trumpeted a new era of work. They promised a world where trade would be decentralised. Their platforms would decentralize commercial power, connecting customers directly with the providers and removing the control of large corporations, all in return for a tiny service fee. The power never shifted to the providers. For platforms like Uber and fast food delivery companies that traded in labour, the power shifted to the platform. Fighting hard against local governments and trade union protection, these platforms stripped away the rights of workers and massively increased competition for working class service providers. Uber even took their brand of nouveau slavery one step further. They offered new drivers in developing countries loans to purchase cars to drive for them. They locked them into long-term financial commitments. As the number of drivers on the platform increased, so did the competition, and the ability for these early adopting drivers to earn money dropped, putting them into unsustainable financial situations. Airbnb offered a different approach. It allowed property owners to unlock the value of their unused property, pitching it as a way to unlock the value in an unused spare room or holiday home that you weren't using. Once again, they were putting the power back in the hands of normal people, though it's a bit debatable how normal someone is if they've just got spare property lying around. Realising its potential, property investors in popular tourist destinations stopped offering properties for affordable long-term rent to locals and instead repurposed their properties as high-margin holiday lets. They even went as far as snapping up properties specifically for this purpose, properties that were sorely needed by locals as the global overcrowding drove crisis of property shortages across the world. Families living in areas for generations were simply priced out of their homes. The platform economy promised to put the power back in the hands of the people that needed it most, but instead, it punished them. In the original Bitcoin white paper, revealed by Satoshi Nakamoto on the 31st of October 2008, the first line of the abstract reads, "A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution." The opportunity promised by a decentralized payment system that allowed people to pay each other directly caused potentially unlimited possibilities, where large financial institutions no longer controlled the flow of money. The political intent of the technology wasn't heavily hidden. The Genesis block of Bitcoin includes a reference to a newspaper article about the British government bailing out banks after a recent financial crisis. Shortly after Bitcoin was created, so were Bitcoin exchanges, platforms that allow cryptocurrencies to be directly exchanged for hard, real-world currency. Almost immediately, members of the financial institutions that Bitcoin was meant to disrupt, speculative traders, realized that Bitcoin could be used as a speculative trading token. As more and more people piled into the crypto trading boom, the value of Bitcoin and all the additional altcoins that came afterwards became incredibly volatile. This volatility meant there was much more potential gain and loss for the traders, but it sounded the death knell for Bitcoin as a functional currency in day-to-day life. Buying a pizza with Bitcoin would cost you €10 one day and then €30 the week after. Once again, human greed had corrupted a technology that had potential to solve some of society's greatest ills. I'm not anti-capitalist, but I'm also not majorly pro-capitalism either. However, one thing is clear: we mostly live in a global capitalist society. And capitalism is a huge juggernaut that, if left unmanaged, will plough through anything in its path. The single goal of most companies is to make a profit. Profit for the company shareholders. We've known about capitalism's juggernautical tendencies for a while. There are people within these companies trying to steer them away from crashing through important things like humans, the environment, and society. However, there are evidently forces that push capitalism to its primary goal that care very little about the journey it takes to get there. Some of the forces are systems forces, the way that capitalism is designed, for example. And then some of the forces are just simply evil humans. It is evident by the examples of cryptocurrency, social media and the platform economy is that the bad forces are winning. And this is why I reach out to the individuals building the mechanics of the juggernauts. The ones building these disruptive tech boulders that crash through society, destroying things as they go. Did you do enough? Did you try to provide a hand to steer the juggernaut in a positive direction? Or were you just too worried about the tech? Were you too engrossed in choosing the correct front-end routing library whilst other people bought elections with social media adverts? Were you distracted about how Kubernetes is meant to work while social media created a global loneliness epidemic? Were you spending time tinkering with your big O notations while venture capitalists gambled with the livelihoods of your closest colleagues? Will you be plugged into your Apple Vision Pro whilst the consequences of artificial intelligence tears through our society? While people did their best to steer the juggernaut towards the correct path, were you sitting at the back playing with your toys? I know, I used to be the one sitting at the back playing with my toys. Then I moved into leadership, and I thought trying to help people play with their toys more efficiently would be helping. But now, I think we need to start to become accountable for the technology that we build. It's no longer okay to throw the things that we build over a wall, these things that have real impact on the world, and hope someone else will make sure that they do no harm. We need to start challenging, thinking, asking, how can we make an influence on how the things that we build are used? If an arms manufacturer builds a gun, is it only the person that pulls the trigger that does harm? If technology is used for harm, should the people who build it take some kind of responsibility?
If you or anyone you know has been affected by the topics in this video, then there is an answer. Punk Leadership provides a solution for those who want to help push the tech industry in a different direction. Taking inspiration from the punk cultural revolution, Punk Leadership provides a model that will allow you to understand what you truly believe should be the future of tech, and provides you with a simple model to start to implement change. The Punk Leadership book is now available from punkleadership.com and Amazon. Start your revolution now.